Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the event-exclusive SH Figuarts Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, blue-haired Vegetto, which is kind of like the SDCC exclusive this year, or at least one of them, but it's just the event exclusive because that's what they're calling them this year because it's going to be in multiple places. It's a very cool figure. You guys know I wasn't a huge fan of the original version of Vegetto that they released. This one does fix a few of those issues, so that's kind of nice, but it's essentially the exact same figure, but it's been recolored in various ways. We're going to talk about all of that. Thanks to Bluefin for sending me these samples early so I could show them to you guys so you can decide if you want to try to track them down. But there is going to be a little bit to talk about, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. And this guy stands to the top of his head about 14 centimeters. That makes him about 17 to the top of his hair, and that's going to make him just about, let's say, 5.5 to the top of the head, and closer to about 6 3/4 to the top of his hair, right around there. Of course, that's just a very close, rough estimate, though, so it'll depend on how you pose him and how accurate you're trying to be with your calipers if you really want to get that tight on the measurement. This guy looks leagues better than the original. I'm just going to put it out there right now. You know what? Let's just go ahead and let's break out the original one right here. You'll notice right off the bat, striking difference between the colors. The orange is relatively similar. The new one is a little bit more saturated, a little bit more vibrant. The blue is a much lighter blue with a lot more saturation and vibrancy, or vibrance. I'm never sure which is the right word. He also has the light blue belt, which will match the hair, and this one has the dark blue belt. The skin tone is almost the same. The boots are almost the same, except the original one has the lighter white, a little bit brighter white with a little bit of that aqua shading, and then the yellow's got a little bit more saturation as opposed to the more gold color for the new ones. So that's about it for the differences there. The earrings are also noticeably different. We have a lot more of a muted silver on the original, and the yellow is actually a flat, brighter yellow on the original, whereas this one's a lot more shiny silver and then a deeper but more metallic gold. Obviously, the faces are different all around. We'll get to that when we get to the accessories more specifically. But you can see very, very drastic difference across the colors. I personally love the color scheme on this one. That one, the dark doesn't quite do it for me. You'll notice also that it's the original body, and here's the thing, like everybody's freaking out that they repainted the original bodies. You know how many more people would be freaking out if they released a new one as an SDCC exclusive? A lot more people would be freaking out. Do I like that it's on the original body? No, I don't. I don't prefer that, but I don't think, even if I was able to get a free set or if I was able to track them down, I don't think it would have been a good idea for them to make a new figure for Comic-Con. People would lose their minds, and clearly they haven't had a chance to make a new figure on its own right, so I guess we'll just wait for that and hope it happens with the 2.0 body. But here's the thing though, okay, what they did give us here is a lot of shading, and it looks really, really nice. The skin tone shaded throughout. The orange, I can't tell if it's shaded or just kind of muddy like the original one. It could go either way, and I can't say for sure if it's intentional or if it's just bad paint job, so I won't. You can decide for yourself. We have shading throughout the blue, which is just fantastic. It looks really, really good. I miss the days when they all looked like this, guys. This is really, really nice shading. Again, I can't say for sure if the gloves are shaded or if it's just kind of gray from not being well done. I'm not positive on that, but the other one clearly had like a teal shading on it, so these don't have that. And then the hair, I can't say for sure if the hair is shaded either because it has a little bit of that metal flake look going on, a little bit of the sparkles. It's very nice looking. I like the color blue they went with. But I can't quite tell if they're shading because it's so pearly. I can't tell if it's just the light catching it or if it actually does have a little bit of shading in there. It's hard to tell. I'm thinking it doesn't, but it might. So don't hold me to that. The face on this guy, well, okay, let's go ahead and just talk about the accessories. We have 3 different faces with the blue features. We have the neutral face looking forward, neutral face kind of smirky looking off to the side, and then yelling face looking off to the side. And then with the black features, we have the neutral face looking off to the side and angry yelly face going straight forward. They're not perfect. I do think they look a lot better than the original batch of faces. I'll go ahead and post a comparison. The new one's on the left, obviously, because it has the blue. You can decide for yourself which ones you prefer. It's not quite accurate necessarily for all of them on either figure release, but I think the new ones probably edge out the old ones. For the neutral head, though, the main head, I do think the eyes are probably a little bit too close together. Whereas on the old one, the eyes looked a little weird and just kind of blank. I don't know, it's just, they're not the same. Let's just leave it at that. You can decide for yourself how you like it. Now we do have the different colors of hair, which is this might be a deal breaker unless I don't know what I'm talking about, which I don't because I haven't watched Super yet. So we have the blue hair, which is fine, it looks good, but then we have the interchangeable black hair. But the black hair on this one is not black. It is like very dark brown, like dark chocolate brown. The hair on the original one, black. You can see the difference. Is it supposed to be dark chocolate brown? I don't know. Like I said, I can't comment on that. If it's supposed to be black, I'll say that's a bummer, that it should not be brown. But if it is for some reason supposed to be this dark, purpley, blackish, brown, well then that's fine. I don't mind. But you guys can let me know about that. You will be happy to hear though, not surprising since it's the same mold, the heads are interchangeable. So if you want to swap out the old heads onto this body because you like the blue better, you can do that. If you want to use the black hair from the old body, you can do that. You will not have any problem with that. Okay, to continue with the accessories, we do have the folded arm accessory. It's painted well enough. It's definitely not great, but it'll do, I guess. We have a bunch of the hands again. We have the 2 fist hands that come on them in the package. 2 kind of clenchy hands, those are all fine. 2 wide open hands, those are good. And then we have the hand for his blast effect. Oh, by the way, when I say the clenchy hands are all fine, they're still the exact same thing as before. They're painted Goku hands with fingernails. That's not fine. That is not fine at all. And then lastly, we have the blast effect, which I can never remember the name of. Spirit Lance, Soul Lance, it's something like that. This one is very nicely done. It's a very saturated yellow, and I will compare it to the original one, which is a little bit less saturated. They're very similar, very, very similar yellows. Just the new one is a little bit more saturated and a little bit more milky, as opposed to the original one looking a little bit more clear, more translucent. Alright, so that'll do it for the accessories. Let's run through the articulation, though I don't think it's absolutely necessary on this mold. We will do it anyway. For the neck, we have our little tiny ball hinge in there, which is very limiting. You can't really lean the head back too much. You can lean it forward a little bit, but you still don't have much clearance, and it's a pain in the ass to rock it side to side. So it's going to be a swivel, no problem, but then you're going to have to really futz around with it to get it to lean in any real direction other than forward and back, which is not that great. We do have a ball peg for the neck, which helps a lot. It doesn't lean side to side that much, but it does lean, so that's good. That basically just helps the pose look a little bit more natural. For the arms, we have a ball peg connecting the arm to the torso. There's a little cap in there to hide the joint a little bit. Then we have the shirt sleeve that pegs onto the back of the arm, which hides the joint a little bit. I'm still not a big fan of these, even though they're still using them on the new figures. The best design they've done for the sleeves like this is the Kid Goku, and I imagine Kid Krillin's going to have that too. I haven't looked that close at it yet. But it's a really good design on that figure, and it would be nice to see that implemented on the adult figures, but this will do for now, especially since it's like 15 years old now. Is it really that old? I don't know how old it is anymore. I can't remember. But we do have a ball hinge in the shoulder, which works nicely. You can get that arm all the way out there. We have our bicep swivel, full rotation. Basically, anything you want to do with the arm, you can do. This is going to work well enough. It's not great, but it'll do. Double jointed elbows work just fine. No issues there. Ball hinges in the wrist. Minimal clearance, so you're not going to get a ton of posing out of the hands, but it'll be enough. You can kind of wedge it in there for the hand poses that you need to really make more dynamic. Ball peg for the torso. It does extend for better range, so that's good. Oh man, I kind of miss these classic figures just because they were the first, and I have a little bit of nostalgia for them. But you still see, it's not a terrible design. Like everybody talks about how bad the 1.0 is. There are definitely issues right here in particular on the shoulders. But some things were still just fine, and that's a pretty good torso joint right there. Floating belt, of course, you saw that. Hinged ball pegs for the hips, so you get plenty of range out of that, all the way forward, all the way back, and of course, you're going to have to mess around with it a little bit to make it not look gappy, but it does work. Bringing them out to the sides, pretty good. Thigh swivel's fine. Double jointed knee joint, obviously not the best design in the world. We have yet to come upon a Dragon Ball figure with the best design in the world on the knee joints. This is obviously ugly, but it's decent enough range, and honestly, it's not all that much more ugly than the current ones, so I'm not too worried about it. I know some people hate the new ones, some people hate the old ones, some people hate both of them. What are we going to do? This is what we have. For the ankles, we have a double ball peg. You don't get a ton of range out of them. You can kind of force it to give you a little bit of lean going forward. You don't have to force it so much if you pull it off. It's just a ball peg. When you're forcing it, that might happen, but don't worry, that's okay. If you force it, you get a little bit of distance going back, not a ton, And oddly enough, you don't have to force it too much at all to get a really nice ankle rocker, which I think is awesome. So that's really good. And then you have a toe hinge, which is not so bad. So yeah, if you liked the original release, then you're going to love this one. It's fantastic compared to the original release. If you hated the original release, then you might like this one. And if you were just kind of on the original release, you'll probably like this one. And that's where I am. I love the coloring on this guy. It's so much more saturated, so much more fun to handle. Is it perfect? Not by a long shot, but I think it's solid. And I think a lot of people are going to want to track it down. And I don't think they're going to be disappointed if they do. So there it is, guys. Let me know which version you like in the comment section below. I'm very curious to see, just color-wise. Obviously, if you're a fan of blue, don't just say, I like it because it's got the blue hair. No, I'm talking about colors. Which one do you like better? The more saturated or the more deep look? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up almost every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.